Welcome to the Joel Dirt Podcast.
So, Tony, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you taking the time to come in here. So I know you do a little bit of content creation.
Yes.
And you used to do physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about how you went from physical therapy to becoming a content creator.
Well, so like you said, I started as a PTA, and I loved it. It was a good career, but the thing about being a physical therapist assistant is there isn't a lot of room for growth, and I was working in the career for like 4 years, and I was ready to progress, basically. But when you're a PTA, the only next move to accelerate in your career is become a PT, which is a doctorate's degree, and I wasn't ready to take out another loan or go to school for 10 more years. So I was like, this ain't for me. So I actually, while I was working as a PTA, I started creating YouTube videos just for fun, just to help people out that were also interested in becoming a physical therapist assistant. So I made videos around like, what's a salary of a PTA? What's a day in the life look like? How old do you need to be or young, or what's the education process? So I started creating just fun videos like that, which after I decided I wanted to progress in my career, I was like, well, maybe I'll just keep going down this creative route, making YouTube content. So I just started like improving my skill set and getting better with filming and learning how to use microphones and cameras and all that stuff. Right. So that's basically what got me interested in transitioning into content creation. So, but to be able to do that, I wasn't able to like go full time on my own. So I actually transitioned to working for an investment company and doing digital marketing for them. So that was like my first like transition point into the world from physical therapy into working into a totally different industry doing digital marketing.
So you jump ship over here and they're basically paying you to educate yourself on how to control all the cameras and do all the editing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I just had experience with like videography stuff, but what they wanted me to do was like run their social media. They wanted me to run their ad campaigns. They wanted me to do all this stuff, which I had no idea how to do. I actually never tell my old boss this, but prior to having the job, I actually didn't even have social media downloaded on my phone.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have
And here
Facebook.
you are in charge of their social media. And this kid didn't even have his own.
I didn't have any of my own. I just hated being glued to my phone. So I never had Instagram, TikTok, nothing.
Yeah.
And so I had really no idea what I was doing when it came to it, but I'm a quick learner and I catch on pretty fast. So anyways, I got hired into the role and yeah, I was in charge of all that stuff. Like I said, we had $100,000 a year ad spend budget. We were spending $10,000 a month, and I was in charge of it. I was creating ad campaigns. I was doing all this stuff. So it was a learning opportunity, and I feel like I was a good enough learner and could bring what I knew with videography and content creation and help them as well. So that's kind of the role that I took. But yeah, while I was working for them, he was like awesome enough to like give me courses, and I got certified in learning Google Analytics and all these things. So I actually got a lot of certifications while I worked there and just totally grew my understanding of digital marketing and social media.
Yeah, right.
Now I have everything on my phone, Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, it's like you went back to college for videography and social media.
Yeah, but the good thing was I was just working too, so I was getting paid to learn rather than
like a trade, basically.
Yeah. So that was a little bit.
That's kind of how that
unique.
went down.
Yeah.
And then you explored that for a while. Then you ended up making your own company, Merit.
Yeah, Merit Media Productions. So I worked in being a digital marketer for basically like 2 years, and I never stopped making my own content though on the side. Basically, I started making product reviews on YouTube, so I would film stuff always on the side. It always excited me, so I would work my normal 40-hour week for the investment company, and then I would, in my spare time, continue to make content creation. And then it got to a point where I was becoming more busy with my content creation on my own that I would start to say, I would turn it down and say, I can't take on that project. Or I would say like, I can, but it's not going to be for a few months from now. Like I'm just busy. So it started to become like that while I was working. And then I just randomly was like, why don't I just like accept any work that comes in? And then if I book myself out too much, I'll ask for a 2-week vacation.
Right. There you go.
And so that's what I
do.
did.
So you're getting paid as well to work on your own stuff then because you're getting vacation pay?
So I was like, I'm going to take a vacation.
Yeah.
And, but really I just had my own work that I had to do. And then after I did that, I told my boss like, hey, can I cut down some hours? Like I don't want to work full time anymore. Would you be open to me working like 30 hours a week? And he was like, sure, let's do it. I did that for literally like not even a full month. And I came back to him and I'm like, hey, can I drop it down to like 20 hours a week?
You're eating into my time, boss.
Well, it's a weird transition because once I started like working for myself, making my own videography and my own content, I just realized that like, man, I can earn more money doing this. And so like any moment I'm not working on my own things, I'm losing money.
You're losing money and you're making someone else more money.
Yeah. And so it was an internal struggle. So the second time I went back to him and was like, hey, can I cut down to 20 hours? He's like, actually, let's just call it a day.
Let's just
He's
call
like
it
you're
a
done
day.
here.
Can't go less than 20.
Yeah. So anyways, he's like, let's just like part ways right now. It's going to be cleaner. And at the time I was like devastated.
No.
I'm like, no, I still need the 20 hours because I wasn't like full time.
Right.
And it was at the end of the year. So it was around like Christmas time. And I was just like so nervous. But now looking back at it, I'm so grateful that we just parted ways then. Because like he said, it was a clean, like we're still good friends. He hires me now to film some of his events.
So he still, you still work with him.
Yeah, I still work with him, but now I just charge my normal rates.
Right, so you're making more money per hour. How convenient, right?
Yeah.
Which was nice though. You basically are forced to just jump into the deep end and figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes how you overcome, that moment in time.
Yeah, I kind of got fortunate though because I already had like side projects. Like I already had part-time work set up. I've already got enough things to do. I just wasn't to like a 40-hour work week or nothing.
But then
so
you
I was a little
put
nervous.
all your energy into it though, right?
Yeah.
And then take on more because now you have this time available.
Yep.
So
and it started at the new year too. So it was like a fresh start. Like, I have a full year to do business on my own to see if it succeeds or fails.
it is weird when you feel like when you like lose your job. That feeling is so weird.
Yeah.
It is so weird.
Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah,
how many jobs have you lost?
I lost a job from COVID during COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was an account manager at a distributor. I worked there for 10 years. I was promoted a few times while I was there, doing really good. When COVID happened, there was a big shutdown in party stores and bars mainly, and it was a beer distributor. So they didn't need all the labor. Right. So they did a temporary layoff on a lot of guys. It's a whole story to it, but there was like a new general manager that just came in, 6 months before COVID kind of thing. And there was a lot of changes happening. And basically it was a smart decision on the company's behalf to cut my salary and basically spread the workload out because then they just acquired that, right? The workload was still getting done. But basically I was laid off, and while I was laid off, I went and swung hammers with Uncle Steve, building barns and doing housework and stuff like that. And then once they gave me the call and said, you're not coming back, I remember that day. It was a beautiful sunny day. I'm outside working, and I'm just like, well, what do we do now? At least I got this job right here, swinging a hammer. But every night I'd be at home on Indeed, and there's like a ton of driving jobs. I'm like, all right, well, I need something with insurance. I need to make enough money, and these jobs pay enough. Do I want to be a truck driver? No, I don't. But what do I do? I'm at the bottom now. I got to figure it out. Not to mention, I lost my job like 2 weeks before Hudson was born.
Ooh.
So it was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the state helped us out with the birth and all that stuff. So it could have been way worse. But all of a sudden, you have to like figure it out.
Yeah,
right?
it's such a, like you said, daunting feeling.
Ugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just feel weird. Right?
Yes, yes.
So, but those things, those adversities, you will overcome them, and you always seem to come out on top. And that's the thing. You just got to have the drive and push for it, you know?
Sure.
So, yeah, I found the driving academy out of Flint, and I called them up and said, and they said, come on in. I went in, sat down, and I was just going to have to pay out of pocket kind of thing. They're like, well, you know, I told them my story. I lost my job because of COVID. They're like, well, we have Michigan Works. And I was like, okay, well, what's this all about? And they said, you just apply for it and we'll know within a week. I said, well, what do I got to lose? I'll apply for it and prolong this up potentially a week, whatever. And I applied for it and I got it. So they paid for my CDL, which was pretty cool. And then I went through the academy, did awesome there. They actually tried to hire me the day that I did my final test. They like wanted me to come and instruct because I had it figured out within like 2 weeks. I mean, I grew up on a horse farm. I've pulled snowmobile trailers. Driving's not a big deal for me, right? But I was helping other kids while I was there. Just naturally, I'm bored, so I'm just helping other kids hone their skills so they can pass and get their CDL. But anyways, offered me a job. Said sorry, no thanks, you know. And I walked into the propane company because I knew we were gonna move to North Branch. And they happened to be hiring, so it kind of worked out that way. Got that job. Now I've been stuck in this rut for about 5 years now.
But now you're podcasting, so you're trying to get out of it?
So essentially, I don't want to be a truck driver forever, right? I'm not saying this is my escape route,
Okay.
but this is so something about being a truck driver. You have a lot of time to think when you're driving down the road.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time to think. And tons of time. And I'm always thinking too. I think I overthink and overanalyze everything. Anyways, so I'm driving down the road and I'm constantly, and I have my children, right? I had the birth of my child right during that whole thing. And then I had another child. So I find myself just thinking about them all the time. And I'm driving down the road and I'm like, man, this job is so risky. I'm driving all day and I got propane behind me. I'm like, well, what happens if something happens to me? You know, I'm making a couple dollars and making someone else rich. And if something happens to me, their dad's gone, you know, how do I get my story captured for them? So I was thinking of like a legacy capture. I think I pitched that to you a couple of years ago. Maybe,
I do remember it.
you know, and I was thinking of like a way to capture legacies and all that. And then I was like, you know, whatever. And I listen to a lot of podcasts because I have a lot of time behind the wheel. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just start a podcast and I just share my stories and talk to people I like and people I want to talk to.
Oh, I'm glad I made the cut.
Yeah, you're one of those few. No. So then the idea is planted, right? And I drive the wife crazy because I'm like, honey, I got another idea. You know, because I always got an idea.
Sure.
I come up with too many ideas. Maybe I should follow some of them. But,
Yeah, well, this is one.
This is one. And I was like, you know what? This is something I want to, it's a hobby. Let's just treat it as a hobby. I don't plan on making money from it, you know, but let's just do it as a hobby because at the end of the day, this is my legacy insurance and this is how I will spend time maybe capturing my stories for my children and other people's stories. And if something ever happens to me, they can at least go back and watch some videos of dad.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where it all originated. But fortunately, she was really cool about it. It was like, you know, if you want to do it, do it. And I was like, okay, you know, so that's kind of like what I was telling you is a year and a half ago, I went to Guitar Center, you know, and I bought the mics, I bought the audio recorder, you know, and I actually, this is the first time we use these nice new mic stands, but bought the gear and then it sat in a tote for a year and a half. So it's constantly like, how do I get this thing up and going? Where do I get it up and going? You know, I want to do this. It's been on my mind the whole time, you know? And then Hudson started doing drum lessons with Deb Barber there. And I come in here and this vibe was really cool here. And I'm like, this feels like the place to do it, you know? And after a couple months of knowing her, I said, hey, I got this podcast idea. It's driving me crazy. And for some reason, my brain's telling me to tell you about it, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, let's go, let's do it. And I'm just like, okay. So she's like, I got a table you can use. And that's this table. She's like, she brought the table in and I just came in and set up the gear. And so it's kind of happening really fast all of a sudden. I'm like, this is so exciting. I'm like, oh, I got to make an intro, you know? And so those drums right over there, that's where we recorded the drums for the intro and the outro. That was me on them. She mic'd them up and helped me do all that. And then like the photo for the podcast, Kevin North took that, or we took the photo, sent it to Kevin North. He did a little edit to it, and that was like 2 years ago. So I've been sitting on that picture for that long. So how does this thing like manifest? You know what I mean? So here we are doing something I want to do, and who knows what could come of it, you know? I'm not banking on that by any means, but I do enjoy doing it. So it's kind of like what you did, you know, you started a little bit of a side hobby. And
It's surprising where it can go, though, because like I started grassroots similar to you. I started with my phone. I would film everything on my phone and all my content. And I really didn't even upgrade my gear until I had already booked my first job. So I was doing videos around college and stuff. So then I booked the job with the college to interview their director of the PTA program. So I had already booked it. We agreed on it. And I didn't still own a camera or a microphone or anything. So I had to go out and buy everything. But I like the just raw approach of
it's
just
very
get started.
It's very low budget.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can have these ideas. Are you going to do something about it?
Right.
You know, and that's kind of what I've been telling myself. Like, dude, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a cool stat that I saw. It was 90% of podcasters don't make it past episode 3. You know, new podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next 90% don't make it to episode 20. So if you make it to 21, apparently you're in the top 1% of podcasts ever made. So a lot of them fail because of time and, you know, guests and content. And it's a lot more to it than people think.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is the easy part, sitting down and talking to somebody. And then it gets into the editing part, which for me, you know, it takes a good 5-6 hours to edit one of these episodes.
Well, that's
easily.
the thing. You don't just do the audio portion of the podcast, but you're also filming it. So that's also a whole nother avenue to learn and
Very
to,
much.
to edit and publish and post. It definitely is a lot more work than people sometimes think.
Oh, yeah. And I have no editing skills really at all before this. And so I went and the first episode I did on an iPad and with like the Final Cut Pro version on the iPad, and it was all right. You know, it turned out good, but I was like, I got to get a laptop if I'm going to really do this. So I had to go out and spend more money on a laptop, and it's just used for this only. And so then I had to, you know, get the Final Cut Pro on that, and then have to learn. It's like a whole different process where the iPad's all touchscreen. Well, this one's all like command keys and stuff, so I'm learning all this stuff.
Sure.
And, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's one of those things where I truly do enjoy doing it. And just laying it out and chopping it up and putting it together and then just seeing it, you know, come to life kind of thing. It's truly fun. It's like one of those things where, you know, it's 2 hours past your bedtime, you know what I mean? But you're just still energized because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, people don't know what actually goes into editing one of these.
Sure. There's a ton of steps and ton of process. And that's the funny thing too, like when I do YouTube stuff is because people think sometimes like you said, what got me to reviewing e-bikes and stuff, people will be surprised like, oh, a brand will send you an e-bike and pay you to make a YouTube review on it and you get commission on it. It's like, yeah, but they don't realize how long it takes me to film everything, to edit everything. And then not only that, but now I'm posting it, I'm getting views, I'm getting like more eyes on their product. So, yeah, sometimes people just underestimate the amount of work that they say, oh, you're getting an e-bike for free. And I'm saying,
how many
maybe,
hours?
But I also like worked a lot to get it. I have to create this whole video.
Right,
now.
exactly. Like how many hours can go into a 30-second clip?
Right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's like, oh, you took a video and yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not how it works.
Right.
You know, there's a lot more behind it.
Yeah. So that I think that is a big misconception when it comes to like content.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy talking to people. I've been, criticized for talking too much. I always embarrass the wife. Talking to random people. Like, we can't go to the grocery store together. Like, we just can't, because if we go through the checkout, I am talking to the cashier.
Yeah.
Like, it's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm gonna say something, and she's gonna cringe. So she's always looking at me weird at the checkout. So I keep my mouth shut. But what's up, guys? Are you looking for the ultimate wild game retailer? Then look no further than the Country Smokehouse. From elk and buffalo to camel and wild boar, smoked cheese to jams, and much, much more. They specialize in gourmet foods like snack sticks, brats, and jerky. The options are endless. And holy cannoli, don't forget about the desserts. Are you looking for a gift? Come on in and put together the perfect gift box. Are you hosting a party? They offer gourmet catering that will certainly be a crowd favorite. You can also stock up on beef and buffalo in bulk, raised on local Michigan farms. The Country Smokehouse is the largest deer processor in the state of Michigan. Stop in once and I guarantee you will be back. Located on M53, just 2 miles south of I-69 in Elmont, Michigan. For more information, visit countrysmokehouse.com. The Country Smokehouse, where they beat everyone's meat. Side effects may be severe cravings, enhanced appetite, feelings of overfilled stomach, and extreme satisfaction. Please eat responsibly. Let's segue into the story about you and Tyler when you went up north to the Mackinac Bridge.
Yeah. So yeah, if I guess, well, you've heard it, but yeah, basically the story is that me and Tyler invited me to go take pictures on the fall color tour, which is basically when the colors change from like I don't know, the fall color season or whatever. So we went up to the UP to like travel. He had a lot of destinations already picked out that he wanted to take pictures of. So we basically did that. It was a boys' trip. We just went around and sightseeing together, watching sunrises, sunsets. It was very romantic.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
Couldn't help it.
Yeah. So we had a nice romantic date, and basically on our way home, he had one last like destination he wanted to stop at. It was called like Cut River Bridge. And so we were driving to go to this location, and we came up to like the road was closed, and we're like, oh man, it's all closed down. Well, we just got out of our cars and like, let's walk it. Well, it was like a 1 to 2 mile walk. We had to get all the way out there, hauling gear and stuff. So we just walked it. And we went on like a Sunday, so we just both assumed that it was going to be vacant. No one was going to be there. Well, it turned out that the whole work crew was there. Everyone was out, orange cones, vests, people. And here the two of us come out with cameras like to film. And so
just filming your work, and
yeah. So we went out there, and he went to go fly his drone. And then as soon as he got flying and stuff, someone came and approached us and was like, hey, you guys can't be here. What are you guys doing? Did you not see the road that was blocked off? And we're like, what are you talking about? So we were just joking around with them and whatnot, and said, oh, we apologize. We thought it was just going to be closed. We didn't think anyone was going to be out here. We just wanted to take some pictures and be on our way. And so he was really nice about it, and we shook his hand, and we were just like, all right, we'll get out of your way and we'll head back to the car. So we started walking, and we got like maybe 100 feet down the road. And then he comes to us like, hey, hold on. Do you guys want to ride back to your car? I know it's kind of a little walk. And we're like, yeah, that would be great. That was kind of a hike, and it was like cold out that day and stuff. So we hop in the car with this random guy, and he starts driving us back, and we get chatting and stuff. And he's like, I really appreciated you guys. You were really kind, really respectful. You shook my hand when we talked. Would you guys be interested in going to the top of the Mackinac Bridge? And we're like, what?
Wait, what did you just say?
Sure. So it turns out that the guy owned a painting company who does all the painting and like basically maintenance work on bridges. And so he has the contract with the Mackinac Bridge. And so he has the authority to bring us up there.
That's crazy.
And so I'm just like, what in the world? And I didn't know this at the time, but Tyler told me afterwards that only a select amount of people are even allowed up there. It's like a lottery system that you have to do to even get drawn to be able to go up there. So it's very exclusive. Not many people get to do it. I didn't know that at the time. I'm just like, sure, I'll go check out a bridge with you.
Yeah, let's check out that one bridge.
Yeah. So I was very naive to it all, but it was awesome. The guy was like probably one of the nicest strangers I have ever met because he
Well, I would say because not many strangers say, "Hey, you want to go to the top of the Mackinac?"
yeah. And it was funny that we just like willingly went wherever he invited us to. We went back to
Could have ended up way worse.
yeah. So like now in today's with how many killer documentaries on
Yeah.
Netflix, I probably wouldn't do it again.
We
But
could be making a new Netflix documentary.
yeah. But he was so nice. He took us back. He ended up owning like a whole hotel plaza down there because I guess he's very wealthy. And so he took us to his condo, showed us around. Then he took us out to eat. He paid for our dinner, and we're the guests.
Wow.
And so he bought us like some fish dinner at a place. And then he's like, all right, let's go. I'll get you some orange vests. We headed up to the top, and it was just the weirdest day ever. It was so funny. We're just like, this is so surreal.
How
This
does
is
it
so
even
strange.
happen?
Yeah.
You know?
The nicest guy ever took us up, and the experience was really cool because it's not just like an elevator you get in, go to the top. The elevator only goes for like halfway up the bridge, and from there it just stops, and then you have to like crawl through a tunnel system of ladders and different passageways to get to the very top. So that was very unique as well. And then once you get up there, it's just breathtaking. You're looking out over the road, the land. You can see everything from there, and it's just so cool. Tyler instantly like FaceTimed his wife and was like taking pictures, and
Wow.
it was just super cool. So then we got to dangle our feet, and then we found out afterwards that we probably weren't supposed to be up there.
Yeah. I mean, Tyler's picture just like went everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that was the only problem. I think the guy that led us up there underestimated Tyler's following.
Yeah.
And so as soon as Tyler posted, he got a lot of backlash for it.
Right.
So
how do these guys get up there?
yeah, exactly. It was very like controversial. So we apologized to the owner of that painting company. I still remember your name, but I'm not going to say it on this podcast.
Right,
But thanks for the opportunity, though.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully he sees this. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But that's unbelievable. The fact that you could just meet a random stranger in basically the middle of nowhere, and next thing you know, he's buying you dinner, taking you to the top of the bridge.
Yeah.
Like if that wasn't meant to be, then what is? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that dangle picture is crazy.
Yeah, it was. What's actually funny is so before we went to that bridge, we were at a different one. This old wooden bridge because he wanted to get a different picture, and so we were going out, and he told me, "Oh, this is an abandoned bridge. Nothing travels on it anymore. Let's go take some pictures." And he's like, "Let's have you let's walk out to the middle of it." And we'll fly our drone and take some pictures, like being in the middle of this bridge. Well, the bridge is just wooden, like a railroad bridge. So there's no guardrails. There's literally nothing but planks that you're stepping. Like if you step in between the plank, you're falling, and there's nothing on the edges. You're just hopping over boards, basically, out to this middle of this bridge that's
Indiana
huge.
Jones style.
Yeah, and it's huge bridge. Like if you fall, you're dead for sure.
Oh,
and
jeez.
so we get out there. It was a little nerve wracking, but I was like, all right, let's do it, And we're sitting on the edge, dangling our feet, and that one like had my heart going. I was like, whew, this is actually a little sketchy.
No
and
kidding.
so I'm like, man, I'm a little like just anxious being out here. But we stayed out there, took some pictures, and then we're like, all right, let's get going back. And I swear, we're like halfway walking back like to the land because we're just in the middle of this railroad bridge. I'm like, Tyler, you hear that? I'm like, I swear I hear a train. I'm like, I think I'm just being paranoid though. And we just kept walking. Literally, we were like 4 steps from getting back to land. We look back, sure enough, a train's coming right down the tracks. We're
No
like, dude, if
way.
we would have been out there like 10
Seriously?
more minutes, we'd have had to jump. Like
Seriously?
Yeah. It was very close call.
Wow.
Turned out it wasn't abandoned. So
No, they're still using it, and it's missing all them boards.
Dude,
What?
it was
I think somebody might want to go check that bridge out.
yeah, that was pretty sketchy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that sounds like it was very, very sketchy. Tyler's been in some sketchy stuff. I'm going to have him on here one of these days. I'm excited to sit down with him and go over some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's pretty wild. So what other kind of things are you into?
Oh, dude, I'm a very simple person. I work, which my work is very leisurely. I don't hardly work. And then I hang out with friends, hang out with family. That's like
That's the dream.
go to church on Sundays.
Yeah, that's the dream right there, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is like your job is remote. You love what you do.
Yes.
You get to spend time with your family. See, I would love to have a remote job. I
Yeah.
really would, because it gives you that flexibility, you know. You got to obviously be driven to get your job accomplished, you know, not
Right.
just sit on the couch and push it off. But you do get that opportunity to pick up around the house and see the family more.
It's just so flexible working for yourself. Well, working for yourself, first of all, because even when I worked remote, like prior to doing my own thing, when I worked for the investment company, I was working remote. But remote work is still work. You're just still
Yeah.
like gotta clock in and
Right.
do your job. So it isn't as like leisurely sometimes as people think. Well, for me too, I was being monitored. Like I was on like I had to clock in, and then it monitored my screen time and stuff to see like what websites I was on. So I couldn't like slag off, or if my mouse was inactive, or like it definitely
Right.
the software tracks you pretty good now.
Yeah,
So-
right. They got it figured out.
Yeah, so I had to be like diligent while I was working. And for the fact that I didn't know anything, so I had to learn a lot.
So you were busy anyways.
Yeah, I was busy learning. But then once you go from like that to working for yourself, oh, it's just the flexibility you have. That's the thing. It just makes all the difference.
Right. It's you take more pride in working for yourself too, you know, and
Yeah.
you're more driven that way too. I don't know, there's something weird about making someone else rich, you know?
Yeah. Well, videography is the thing that I love doing no matter what. Like Karen and I have this conversation, my wife and I, where she'll be like, what do you want to do like in life or when you retire and stuff? And I'm like, dude, if we hit like the lotto tomorrow and we make a bunch of money, what I still want to do is just shoot videos. Like I just
Right.
love videography. I
Yeah.
love what I do. If we were rich tomorrow, I'd still just clock in, work, shoot some videos. Maybe I'll do more passion projects, but I just love what I do. So really when I'm working, I don't feel like, oh, I gotta get up, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
I love
That's
every minute
but
of
that's
it.
what I feel every morning, what you just described. Oh, I gotta get up, I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
maybe one day I'll find one of those.
Get some more sponsors for this and you're there.
Well, help me out, Tony. I need your
Oh.
expertise here. You're the man behind it. So
Yeah. I actually don't know enough about podcasting to know how those work. I'm sure you'd be surprised the more you reach out to companies, how
Yeah.
they're willing to partner with people.
yeah.
Like even when I got my first e-bike, like I probably sent 80 emails and got told no a bunch of times. They're like, nah. Like, cause I had never reviewed an e-bike before. I had nothing to show for it. I was just like, just trust me. I want to do good by it. And the first brand that finally partnered with me, they're still a partner till this day because the first
cool.
video drove so many sales, views, everything. It just was really successful. But I think just being persistent like that, I think helps.
Yeah. And kind of like you said, if you don't shoot your shot, you're never going to make it,
Right.
you know? And that's why I actually, I messaged the Country Smokehouse. I got a little Country Smokehouse ad. It'll be in this episode.
Hey.
And it's cool. You know, I'm doing it for fun. You know what I mean? Like I'm not charged. I'm like, hey, I got this idea. I want to use you guys. Is this really, is it cool with you? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So I made it, and yeah, I'll be putting it in there. So it's a free sponsor, but it was to get my feet wet and show something.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to just got to try.
So one of my questions is like, how do people like grow a podcast? So for me, like doing YouTube stuff and like how I grew was a lot through search-based content. So I would make content based upon what people are searching. So you can look up the most common phrases people type into YouTube. And then like, for example, if you type in e-bike, YouTube autofills what the rest of the sentence might be. It might say like best e-bikes under $2,000 or something. YouTube will automatically fill in what the top searches people are actively looking for. So when I make content, I make it based off the search content. Because because I found that is an easy way to start getting evergreen content. So now, like, once I make one of those videos, someone 5 years from now still will probably ask the question, what's the cheapest e-bike under $2,000? So that's a good way for like me to have like longevity. But how does it work with like podcasts? Like,
well, I mean, honestly, I think the content, it's long form, right? So the content has to be enjoyable for people to be able to sit there for an hour plus to listen to it. A lot of it's, for me, I came into it just doing what I want to do with, you know, I didn't really research any, like, how do I grow this the fastest? I just want to sit down and have conversations I want to have and let everything happen organically. That's kind of my goal. But a lot of it is, it's kind of like networking in a way, you know, so I'll have you on and I'll post it, I'll share it, I'll tag you in it. Well, the people that have never heard of my podcast or seen it, that's in your friends list, it might pop up in there, right?
I see.
So every time I get a new guest, you kind of reach a new little market. And the idea is just to keep plucking a little bit at each market, maybe, you know, and eventually you get a follower or two out of each one or something, and you just keep growing and growing. And eventually, you know, what I need to do is I need to get into like making reels, you know, take a good spot, you know, a couple good clips out. And that way people are seeing something that's, that's funny or that's entertaining or whatever. I want to check that out. Boom, you get them in. So that's probably the best way. I bet reels and clips are the best way to grow your podcast because it's like a small snippet. And if you can get their attention and get them to click in, well, that's a view, right? And more views and more subscribers and more likes, the algorithm basically will push your video into suggestions. And that's kind of, I've actually had an email from, you know, YouTube saying basically, you know, promote your likes and your subscribes and all that and try to get growth through the algorithm. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's cool. I'm not trying to be like, you know, that, but I'm just trying to be organic here, just have fun, put it out there, and maybe I'll grab somebody from everybody's network.
That is a very interesting idea though. Like growing that way versus like networking and stuff, because I feel like so many times in life, like when people hit breaks, like the common cliche saying is like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I feel like that's so like applicable though, because there's so many times that like opportunities come about just by someone, you know, oh, I happen to know so-and-so. Like for example, like I also film for a hunting TV show. Well, it's like, that's just from a friend of a friend is how I got involved in it. It's just knowing somebody. It's not like I was reaching out to like TV shows like, hey, can I work for you? It was like,
it's who you know. So then that's kind of, you know, I have a handful of people that I still want to sit down with, and I keep working on a few different individuals, and I get new ideas. But I also, you know, maybe someday, you know, somebody you know that has a really cool story I could have on, or somebody else knows.
I do. My the guy I used to work for, the investment company. Oh, he's literally the best guy to invite. His story is just unreal. His upbringing and just where he's at.
See, and that's kind of where I love a good story. You know what I mean? I can really enjoy it, and I really can dig into it, and that's kind of how I want to grow this thing. I want to get to know people through people. So shoot me his contact info.
I will. He's such a good guy.
We'll talk some more about him when we're all done here. That sounds cool. But so it's kind of just, it's the network. You know what I mean? It's like a friend suggestion on Facebook or something.
I've always wondered like how successful, like because people say that in business, because now that I like run my own business, like I always wonder, like, business networking, is it dead? Is it like when, you know, business members come together? I've never done one of those things. I just always
right.
I'm always like, is that actually like,
is this gonna work? Like, what is this?
I'm just always unsure about things like that.
No, I know. It's kind of weird in a way. I see what you're saying. You popped a question into my head earlier when you were talking about your sweet life at home with your wife and kids and you know, your fun job. So how did you meet your wife?
We met through church, and we actually have different, basically like I thought I met my wife like later, and she thought we met at a different date, and so
That's
we
awesome.
both had this understanding that we both randomly met later. But our church has a photo of us together playing ping pong like 3 years prior. Then both of us say, "Oh, this is when we first met." Our church has a photo of us
The
playing
evidence
ping
is
pong. So
there.
I'm like, I don't remember. That's how unforgettable my wife. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So we basically met through church, and yeah, we just started hanging out in the same friend group, and
Right on.
then we got married. I
Right,
guess.
right. And then had kids. And
Yeah,
that's awesome,
That's
man.
been a journey. Dude, kids is a journey too,
Oh,
man.
man, kids are awesome. And that's something I think about actually all the time is people that say they don't want to have kids or they don't have kids. They're truly missing something. Now, I get it. Kids are not for everybody, right? There's some people out there that they should not have kids, okay? Let's just be honest here, right? They probably shouldn't, but they might have like 6, okay?
Yeah.
But then there's some where I get it, whatever. You want to be selfish, be selfish. But to me, children, I've never, like, honestly, before having a child, I was fearless. Having my first child, all of a sudden I had fear and I felt vulnerable.
Yeah,
And it's just like all these new emotions that I never had before.
sure.
It's like, it's, you can't really describe it unless you feel it,
What really surprises me is I don't understand how like people can like abandon their kids or
Oh
just
my
like, oh, I'll just
gosh.
pay child support or whatever. I'm like, that stuff is so baffling to me because
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're-
Yeah, this is just a weird
They're the ones that
concept.
probably shouldn't have had kids, right? So, but yeah, it's really crazy because, man, I don't know if it's a generational thing because things were different 2 generations ago, and now the way the world is,
Well-
I could not imagine not being, having my kids with me every day. And
Well, sorry, I don't fully know your backstory either because I know that, or I assume that you were raised by your grandparents. So
yeah,
what?
right. So it's a very long story. And I do want to kind of get into it it would take a handful of episodes probably. But yeah, so grew up on a horse farm and let's see, where do I begin here?
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, my mom and dad still alive. My dad wasn't around a whole lot as a child. He had a lot of his own battles with the, different addictions and stuff like that. He's doing much better now, and we have a much better relationship now. There was a lot of that, and my mom was around, but she was really busy, is how I look at it. She's always had horses and lots of animals, and was very busy, right? So my grandparents grew up next door. And so I kind of was raised by them, and thank God for them. That's what I can say. 'Cause they were the ones that really, they're the ones that showed love. You know what I mean? They showed the most love. They were the ones that fed you 5 times a day and your 5 friends that were over. They're the ones that took you on all the vacations and definitely made you feel seen kind of thing as a child. But it's been a long journey. I actually lost my grandma 2 years ago, March 9th of 24. It's one of those things you'll never forget it. That's a whole nother story there. I mean, it's crazy. I don't even know where to begin. Like, do I start from a childhood and go through this? 'Cause this is like a 3-hour episode if I do. You know what I mean? So my dad, back when I think I was like a year old, dad had a lot of alcoholism and drug use problems. I don't know what was going on in his world, which is a question I have for him. And I do want to talk to him sometime sooner than later about it, but he
On the
ended up,
podcast.
well, I thought about it. I don't know if he'd be willing,
Yeah.
but he attempted suicide.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild story. He was very inebriated, and it happened at the horse farm I grew up on. Yeah, he had a shotgun, and I don't know how graphic I want to get, but put it in his mouth.
Oh,
And
wow.
when he was reaching for the trigger, his head kind of turned and he pushed the trigger and blew the whole side of his face off. So that got pretty graphic real quick.
Wow. I had no idea.
So yeah, he tried to kill himself. And then in a weird way, it was a blessing because it was shortly after that he found God, right? And then he went clean for like 30 plus years. Yeah, he turned it around. I mean, he still wasn't around a whole lot, but he definitely cleaned up and was going to church all the time and was doing a lot better. He fell off the bandwagon, I'd say about 5 years ago. And then,
For what, was there an event that happened?
I-
Like,
he
how do you
li-
go that long? And
yeah, he lives up north. He's all alone kind of thing.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's just from being alone up north or what, and he's really old school, but it's like about 5 years ago, roughly fell off, started drinking again. And he got caught with the DUI and ended up getting another DUI. Then had a whole situation where he ended up spending 7 months in jail.
Mm.
Well, we just got him out and I communicated with him every Sunday when he was in jail. I was sending him things that he needs, and jail was another blessing, believe it or not. Had the most conversation I've had with my dad has happened with him while he was in jail, probably in my entire life. And I was there when he came out, and we helped get him up and going, and he come out just full of energy. He's clean. He was forced to be clean again, and he tells me there's no going back kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's now got an iPhone, so now we FaceTime, right?
Mm.
And I think this is going to solve, believe it or not, the power of FaceTime is going to potentially solve a lot of his loneliness that I expect he was having.
Sure. Yeah.
know?
I mean, anyone living in like solitary, like that.
Yeah. And so he thought it was so cool that we could, he didn't even know FaceTime was a thing until a few weeks ago. Like we just got him out. And now when I'm, hey, look, my kids are riding their bikes. He's like, he's just smiling. Like he would rather FaceTime you than talk to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Like he wants to see. I can just feel his energy. He's heading in the right direction. He's made his mistakes. And I think it's very important to acknowledge mistakes like this and share the information because that's how you learn, And I've made a ton of mistakes and we could spend forever.
Well, how do you like cope? Like I don't know. Do you have any like thoughts of like your dad and stuff? Like, how do you cope with like everything that's happened? Like, do you have resentment? Are you like cool with your dad? Are you like just questioning stuff or?
Yeah. So I don't really have resentment. I find my grandma, she was the best person in the world. She was the one that brought the church to the family kind of thing, and she's always talking about for forgiveness and just being the bigger and better person and all that. So I don't really have resentment when someone shows me true feelings. I can tell that he means what he's saying and I can tell he's genuinely excited and he made those mistakes, but guess what? I've known about it my whole life. You know what I mean? And I can take someone else's mistakes and I can learn from it. Now I've had my own issues in the past with substance and stuff like that, fortunately I'm a completely different person now than I used to be. Right. Like,
yeah, I don't know. You're young
you
yourself.
don't. No, you really don't. So fortunately, when I came into the family, because your wife and my wife are cousins, right?
Right.
So fortunately, when I came into the family, it's completely coming out of a dark past, essentially. Yeah.
With alcohol?
No.
Oh,
no.
so I was like, that makes sense. You're a beer distributor. Boom.
No.
It's adding up.
Right. No, it was other drugs and
Uh-huh.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I've battled some addictions in the past and I've overcame them. And honestly, I think it's made me the person I am today. A lot of that stuff is when you face adversity, you can beat it, you can overcome it. And it's all about how do you handle it? How do you move forward? A lot of life learning skills. And a lot of that was because lack of parenting, I would say, My grandparents were there, best grandparents in the world, but I had too much freedom. You know what I mean? And as long as I was at home, grandma didn't care, you're upstairs having fun, that's fine. But she didn't know what was going on behind closed doors and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So very thankful to have her, but yeah, the past is riddled with all kinds of mistakes that I've learned from, and I will continue moving in the right direction,
Yeah.
But hopefully it doesn't change the family's perception of me because of my past.
I'm going to treat you different.
You
now
are. No, I mean, honestly, I used to do a lot of things that I shouldn't have done.
No, it makes sense.
And I mean,
We've all done things, I feel like that.
Some worse than others. So I don't know how deep I want to get into it or not. I mean, some of the family will probably watch this, but
well, we can transition. I mean, how does that make you feel about your kids then?
Unbelievable.
Because
that's part of why I feel the way I do.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'll never go back to the place I once have been into. It's my kids are everything. The love I have for them, unbelievable. It's kind of like we were saying earlier. I don't know how anybody can just like abandon a child, and like you were saying. And
yeah. Crazy.
It is crazy because it's the whole world, And it's taught me, I think it's taught me to give them what I wish I would have had.
Yeah, but
and it's out of desire too.
It's hard to do that though if you've never had that though.
It's natural. It's a natural feeling for me.
Oh, that's so funny because you know what I mean. Like if your parents never showed you the kind of upbringing you wanted or something, but to do that to your kids, sometimes it's like uncharted territory.
Right, and I can see where it does happen a lot, where you become your parent, right? And if that's the life you came up in, well, maybe you're going to be that way. For me, it's not possible. I don't know. It's probably because of my grandparents, And man, I'm telling you right now, my grandma, she's the most special person that's ever roamed this earth, for me as a child growing up. Right now I have to do that for my kids.
Sure.
It's crazy, how important she was to me, and it's been a lot. I think about her honestly every single day.
Yeah.
There's not a single day that goes by that I don't think about my grandma. And I mean, I still have her voicemail saved. You know what I mean? If I want to hear her, I just listen. Or if I call my grandpa, she's still on the answering machine. I'm like, Grandpa, please, I'm thinking, please don't answer. I just want to hear Grandma, and then you can call me back. Is what I'm thinking when I call him.
Yeah.
So it's really cool stuff. I did get to, the benefit to being a truck driver the last 5 years was I did talk to her a lot on the phone. I would call her, and we'd have 30-minute to an hour conversations all the time. Just because I'm going on the road, I got all day. Let's just talk, So had a lot of those conversations. And then there was, I guess one thing I should bring up, while she was in the hospital, kind of going downhill, I spent a lot of time there. I was taking time off work and just spending a lot of days there. But she, basically on her deathbed, because I'm currently trying to figure out my faith as well. Like I'm in the discovery phase, I believe, is kind of how I put it. Like I believe in God, I've never really practiced religion, but my grandma, she's the only one in the family that really has, and her dying wish was that everybody, accepts Jesus and basically, starts to practice religion, and she wants everyone to end up in heaven is what she wants.
Okay.
And in a side note, every single night she would pray, and she would include every single person in our family. There's like 50 plus grandkids, and then there's so many kids, and she would say every single person's name every night when she would pray. So I thought that was kind of cool. But well, back to, she's on her deathbed, and she would just hold my hand, and I told her, I said, Grandma, when you get to the other side, said, just send me a sign. And excuse me. So there was one night I was having a dream, And it's kind of weird because, like, you ever have those dreams? I forget what they call them, lucid dreams, where you know you're in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've had a bunch of those where usually it's like I'm flying. It's like I could like control how I fly, whatever. And I learned that, oh, I can feel like this is a dream. Like, oh, this is cool. I'm just going to fly around for fun. Like, I know I'm dreaming right now. So I had one night I was dreaming and I find myself walking down a hallway, which I believe it was my high school hallway. And all of a sudden I pick my head up and she's standing there. And so I run up and I give her a hug. I said, Grandma, is it really you? And she says, yeah, it's really me. And I just go, I come out of this dream just gasping for air. And it's just a dream, right? It felt so real. And it was 2:30 in the morning. I was not going back to sleep. This never happens to me. I never wake up from a dream like that. And it hit me so hard that, again, like I said earlier, you know, they say when you have a dream, it's because you're thinking about it. I think about it every day in my life. I've only had one dream in 2 years, and that's the one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I do question that. I'm just like, she's sending me a sign from the other side. You know, that was her way. Because if I was having dreams of her all the time, then you could discount it, be like, oh, I'm just always dreaming about Grandma.
Mm-hmm.
No, just one time. And there's not a day that goes by. You know what I mean? So it's pretty powerful stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a believer.
Sure.
So I attribute a lot of things to the Lord, and I oftentimes don't think, like, I really don't think coincidences happen often. I usually think like the Lord, like what are the chances for all these things to happen? Like you even said, like the story of the bridge and stuff, of that random guy taking us up.
Right.
I don't think a lot of that is coincidence. I think a lot of things are heavenly ordained. So
yeah, it's just some things are just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even line up? How does that happen? You know, and I certainly believe, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I am entering into this whole like discovery thing. Like I haven't been practicing my whole life or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of learning still to be had.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks to Grandma though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's still trying to work from the other side.
Yeah. That's crazy. I never knew any of that. So that was just.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to it to my life.
Oh, sure.
You know, I don't even know how serious I can get here. You know,
No, that was awesome though. Like, I definitely believe that the Lord works in ways like that through dreams and different things. But but that's I feel like you're gonna become the new grandma around town.
Yeah. Well, you know what's amazing though is they say you marry your mom, and my wife, I've been noticing a lot lately. Like I see a lot of my grandma's characteristics in her. She's so caring, right? And she always puts everybody else first. I see so many things in her. I'm like, dude, that's a Peggy thing. Because my grandma's name's Peggy. I'm like, yeah, you're starting to act like Peggy. You better settle down. No, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. And I'm just like, wow, you know.
That is funny.
It is, yep. And yeah, and she's with me every day. You know what I mean? She helped create the people that were around her. So she lives on through us, you know, so it's pretty cool. It's really cool stuff, but
Love hearing it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you get into my past. Like I said, there's a lot more time needing to be had here. It's
Sure.
nothing to be proud of. You know, I used to dabble in a lot of drugs and stuff, you know, and drug dealing and all kinds of stuff, man. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I never knew I was hanging out with a criminal all these.
Yeah,
all
I
these
am
years.
honestly though, like looking back at it, and I laugh about this stuff. All right, and sorry if you think I'm a bad guy, but it's hysterical because I should be locked up in prison for the rest of my life for some of the things I've done. All right? I've never sat out to hurt somebody.
Sure.
I never hurt nobody. That was never a thing. Never.
You just ran a couple drug rings.
I just was trying to make money. All right. A guy just listen, there's a supply and demand. It's simple business, right? Supply and demand. Somebody has to supply for the demand, and who's gonna do that to make the money,
That's
right?
funny.
That was me.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna succeed in business if you can succeed on the streets like that.
Yeah.
Slinging drugs, so you should be all right.
Well, it's so crazy, man. I started in like 7th grade. You know what I mean?
Dang, taking over the family business.
Wow.
That's crazy work.
I'm not kidding you. Like, it's so wild to think. I mean, I'll never forget middle school. I think all I wore was khaki pants and a white tee. Straight gangster. And I'm not kidding you. I'm walking down the halls and I've got $1,000 in my pocket. And all I can think of is I make more money than these teachers.
Bro, that's funny.
Oh, I was buying double lunches every day. You know?
Oh my goodness.
It's like, give me 2 sets of those chicken nuggets.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Them high school cookies were where it's at.
Dude, they made these peanut butter goodies. I don't know if you ever had those at your school, but they're fire.
After all the drugs you're on, it makes sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the munchies were real. They were real. Well, since we brought it up, I do have one really good story. So might as well get it now because we're kind of in the zone. So I did a lot of drug dealing, okay? And I had a buddy that when we graduated high school, he moved to Arizona. I told him, I said, hey, when you get down there and you find a connection, let me know because it's a lot cheaper down there than it is up here, right? And he's like, all right. A couple of years goes by and he's like, hey, found one. I'm like, huh? You know, so the first time I flew down there and bought a bunch of marijuana and drove it back from Phoenix, Arizona. All right. Made out very well. So, I mean, you get it for like $600 a pound down there. And back here, you'd sell it for $2,000. All right. You can do the simple math, right? This is when it's like super illegal.
Yeah, you're willingly turning yourself in right now.
Yeah. Well, no, the statute of limitations is way gone, right? Way gone. So then I'm like, well, look at this business opportunity. You know, it was all business for me. It was just like, it's like a hay farmer. You know what I mean? Let's bale some hay and sell it. So I'm like, all right. So then I ended up renting a car from the airport. I drove all the way down. We got pulled over. I call this story Circling Kansas because we literally did a circle around Kansas, came back. And so rented a car and got a whole bunch of cash on me. And we're heading down. We got pulled over in St. Louis, Missouri. And the cop pulls the driver, which was me. And he's questioning my story and the other passenger's story. I don't want to say their names because I don't know if they want to be involved. And fortunately, the stories kind of matched. And he did find a wad of cash in my pocket. How much you got there? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like $1,000. You know, it's we're going on vacation. It was a few grand. And then I had a big chunk of cash hidden in the car. So continue on. We get to Oklahoma and we get pulled over again on the way down. And we got lucky here. The cop ended up getting another call. They needed a K9 unit somewhere or something. And he's like, I got to go kind of thing. I was like, what the heck? So we're in Oklahoma. And we're like, what do we do? Do we just turn around and go home? This is crazy. Like, what are the odds? Nope. Let's go. You know, so we continue through Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. Now, hold on. Let me take one pause here. So I'm living at my grandma's at the time. And I told my grandma, I said, I'm going up north snowmobiling. All right. So she thinks this whole time I just went 2 hours north to go snowmobiling. But I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, on the phone with my grandma sitting in a hot tub. And I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. There's so much snow up here. You know, and I'm sitting in the sun. But anyways, so next morning, I don't even know how I did this stuff. Like, I'm like literally just out of high school. I'm young and dumb, okay? And I go to this house, and they got a big fenced-in backyard. I pull the car in. I go inside, and it's all Mexicans down there. No offense.
I'm taking.
But and the guy was actually super cool, and he had like a little bong, and he's like, here, take a hit. He's trying to make sure I wasn't, a cop or something. I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. And he's like, Michigan, man. He's like, how's the snow up there? It's really nice. I've never seen snow before. And I'm like, dude, it's awesome. It's everywhere. There's tons of snow. And then he's like, oh, how are the wetbacks up there, man? How are the wetbacks? And I'm just like, at the time, I'm like, I don't even know what wetbacks means. I'm like, wetbacks. Does this mean like women or something? Right? And I'm like, oh man, they're everywhere. I said to him, he's like, he said they're everywhere, man. It was the funniest thing. I'm just laughing, just thinking, I thought he was talking about like loose women or something. And I look over at my two buddies, they're just like stone faced, like, what did he just say? You know what I mean?
Jeez.
So meanwhile, while we're inside, they're loading the trunk of the car and they're up, good to go. So go get in the car and just pull out of there. And next thing you know, I got a trunk with a bale in it. And I'm just like, all right, what do we do now? We can't stay in Phoenix. We got to get out of town. Like, somebody could have just followed us out of here. We got to get out of here. So we went up to Flagstaff, stayed the night at Flagstaff. Next morning, got up. And I'll tell you right now, you want to lose some years? Do this. Do what I'm doing right here. So we went up through the four corners of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Colorado. And we came all through Colorado up, and we ended up staying the night in Denver because as soon as the sun was going down, it was like, get off the road, dude. And going through like the Four Corners area, it's like Monument Valley or something's over there, and you can see forever. And you'd see a cop like 2 miles up the road, and you're just sweating. Like, oh, please don't. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. Like, what was I thinking? This is crazy. And so, anyway, stay in Denver. Next morning, we go from Denver over to, like, we were in Iowa on the Mississippi, stayed the night there. So we did our circle around Kansas. And then the next morning was the day of Super Bowl 40 in Detroit. And my grandma always made us, like, Super Bowl food. She'd always put together the food for us, have a little party, whatever. Well, we get to the Michigan border, and it's a snowstorm. Just snowing. And I've never been so happy because let's just slow down and go with the flow. You know what I mean? And here I am. We make it back. We get home. And I come walking in with like a hockey bag. Hi, Grandma. You know what I mean? Like, she's in the kitchen just cooking all the food and whipping it up for us. Yeah. And we made it. I got upstairs and yep. And I made a ton of money on that one.
What'd you do with all the money? Did you spend it recklessly?
Well, no, not necessarily. No, because it took money to make money, right? So, it's simple business, right? So you'd get a disc the more you buy in bulk, right? It's just like anything. You buy something in bulk, you get a better price. So I would just take it and reinvest it in the business, basically, and grow it and grow it and grow it. And it just kept growing, right? So I'll get to the blessing here.
Sounds like you're blessed so far.
Yeah,
man.
right. So I've got all this cash, and I'm just like, wow. And I'm already eyeballing a new car. There was a Lincoln LS. It was pearl white, tinted out, moonroof, the whole works. I'm like, I want that car. I was gonna go pay cash for it.
Uh-huh.
Well, that wouldn't have stuck out like a sore thumb or anything. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I come home with this car like, huh?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And it happens to look like a pimp mobile, you know?
Grandma's farm really taking off.
Yes, we out here doing it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so then I'm trying to reinvest and take money to make money. Well, my guy in Michigan ended up robbing me of all that money.
Really?
Yes. So the way we would do our deals in Flint was he would just randomly pick me up from somewhere and just drive around random. It was like that every time. And nothing seemed out of place this one particular time. It's nighttime. It's in the hood of Flint. And he takes me down to like some dead end road and backs in some driveway. It was always somewhere different. So nothing really felt out of place. And basically, he always had a gun on him, so that's kind of crazy. And it's a good thing I didn't, because I was young and dumb. And I would have done something dumb. And this is why. So let me just finish the story, then I'll get to that. So I'm going to get out of the car to get the product out of the trunk, and he jumps in and takes off. My money's in the car, right? And he knew that. Had I been young and dumb and had a gun, what would I do right then and there? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, these terrible life decisions have taught me so much, like, to not judge people. You know what I mean? Because I was in some of these positions.
Sure.
And I'm a completely different person now.
Yeah.
Completely different, you know? And I will laugh about these stories. There's a ton more. You know, I will laugh about them, and because it's wild. You know what I mean?
Sounds like it.
But I've learned a lot, though. You can't judge, because people can change.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story, is people can change. I continue to change every day. You know, it's all these different, you know, thank goodness he robbed me, because guess what that did? Had he not robbed me, I might have kept going. And then I would have ended up in jail for a long period of time, or dead. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? It was a bad path. Well, somebody granted me another chance at a better path. Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then, so then I kind of got out of all that. And it's just like weird how like these little steps happen. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never realize it until you look back, and then you say, it makes sense. Because in the moment, you're like,
just don't know.
you know, like,
Yeah.
in the moment, you're like, why did I get robbed? I should have had a gun on me.
Yeah, I could have killed him and went to jail for murder.
Yeah.
Like, what? No.
Yeah. No, but looking back, it's always like, even in like, like I don't have quite the same career path as a drug dealer, but even in my career path, I can see like, oh man, it all like works out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. Yes. Everything in
looking back.
hindsight's so much easier
Yeah.
to make sense of,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's why honestly, I don't have any regrets. None of it. I learned a ton. Honestly, it was good business skills, just bad products.
That's
right?
why I know this podcast is going to take off.
Like, I've always meant well, though. Like, I was never out to hurt nobody. I was just like, dude, there's money to be made here. What are you talking about? I'm smart enough to do it. Let's go. I'm crazy enough to do it. And that kind of went to the children creating fear in me. I had no fear when I was a kid. And then having my kids, whoa, I'm scared of everything. Like, I don't want to go to jail. Like, I don't want my kids to get hurt. I don't want something to happen to them. And I don't want to, you know, I got to be around for them.
Yeah.
I have to better myself every day for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where my mind's at now. And fortunately, I met my wife, 12 years ago, because I was doing better when I met her, like leading up to that. But she really helped propel me farther to the better side of things. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was just, I just don't think I understood the value of life when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be numb. I just wanted to not worry. I didn't really care. I had nothing to care about.
Yeah.
And now I have so much to care about. And that's the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, as you can relate to with your children as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you definitely appreciate the little things. Even with our journey with kids and stuff has been like very challenging for us. Like we didn't have the easiest when it came to having children, so we've definitely had our journey there, but definitely love them now that they're here.
Yeah, man. They make everything better.
Yeah.
It's just something about it when they give you that hug.
Sure.
It's so worth it.
Yep.
But hopefully people that listen to this podcast don't not like me all of a sudden, because listen, I'm a different person now. I have been this better person ever since I've known everyone in your family, basically. So
That's funny.
but I think it's important. I think it's important to share the stories.
Yeah.
I do.
I appreciate hearing them. They, I never knew a lot of those things. I don't think any differently of you. I think
Well,
you're
good. Yeah. I think some people go through different adversities and they don't want to share it, but if I share my stories, maybe it'll help someone else.
Sure.
You know? And again, these are the stories that I want my kids to be able to look back on when they're like 21. You know,
Don't watch
Yeah,
episode
don't watch
7
until such and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's important to learn from each other and share our own, flaws. And we all make mistakes, some worse than others. And don't judge somebody because it's only God's place to judge.
Amen.
So, anything else you want to add on here?
Nah, dude, I've had a ball. It's been fun. Thanks for having me out. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. We'll do it again sometime. I'm sure we can have some other great conversations.
Sure.
Well, thanks again for coming in, and we'll do it again.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yep. See you, Tony.
Yep.